Hi everyone, LiberAnarchy here, responding to Bespoke Group, otherwise known as Nick Dutch. I'm responding to his video about the Lesser Key of Solomon and the silliness of the demons therein. I should never ever work with the Lesser Key of Solomon or the Goetia or any medieval grimoires, however you pronounce it, I don't care. Because, like you, I could not ever take it entirely seriously. Now, I'm sure somebody who does work with the Lesser Key of Solomon would be very happy to expound upon this particular demon and what the significance of the camel is and what it may or may not symbolize and perhaps why the seal is what it is, what it's derived from, and various occultic influences and how this conception of this demon was formed. But me personally, I'm with you. I mean, to me, it's all laughable. I do not believe in demons as these external, evil, horrible entities. And my nose itches, so excuse me, I'm going to scratch my nose. Much better. And no, I am not restarting this. I already botched this once. Now, I will take a very ranty, angry tone, but rest assured it is not you that I'm angry with. I'm going to talk to you about demons and what I think a demon actually is. Notice that those who talk about demons, the devil, Satan, evil spirits, or negativity, expelling the negativity, usually are the most insecure and mean people around. Example, Ted Haggard. Ted Haggard is completely heterosexual. That guy. Look up the phrase, Ted Haggard is completely heterosexual, if you have not heard the song. And on the off chance that some of my subscribers don't know this, Ted Haggard is a rather vocally anti-gay Christian preacher, and he was caught he was caught with doing meth with it wasn't a prostitute, but it was a gay escort, I believe. A gay escort. And he was soliciting for sexual services. And he says that he's repented and la da 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 da. Yeah, but I remember watching a documentary. I believe it was Jesus Camp, but I've seen many other similar documentaries, so I could be wrong. Ted Haggard is on stage. The cameraman is watching from below. Ted Haggard strolls over, looks down at the cameraman, points and wags his finger and declares, "I know what you did last night." I still remember that clear as day. Not where it was from, but just the poignancy of that scene. Really? Ted Haggard has this special knowledge of what I've done last night? Honestly, if you think it was sexual, you and I are wishing the same thing, because I haven't had any in quite a while. Oh boy. But, my train of thought derailed. And when somebody is taken aback by the audacity of such a statement, it's going to look like they've been caught. It's going to be the same reaction, or at least not outwardly. People are going to go, like, I can't believe you just said that. And the loyal minions are going to think that, oh, our master pastor just caught him in the act. He knows he's got a connection to God. I've gotten slightly off topic, but this, friends, is the kind of person that I'm talking about when I speak about those who are afraid of the demons, who are scapegoating other people or just other made up entities. In my opinion, excuse me, I have a billion itches right now because I'm recording, and the itches will all go away when I'm done recording. Demons are inside us when we feel conflicted, when we feel guilty, when we've been told that we're bad even though we're not, when we have childhood baggage that we need to work through, that could become, a personal demon. I myself, in dreams and hypnagogic and hypnopompic hallucinations, have faced a number of my personal demons. It doesn't mean that I'm bad, it doesn't mean that I'm stupid, it just means that I'm a human being that was blessed with a really unusual 3-pound reality filter. And yes, I do have religious experiences. I can sit and induce a religious experience right now. In fact, what I have done is I have worked to tone down these experiences and have more control over them. I was going to give examples, and it's not so much that it's too personal, so much as the video would be much too long. My point is, I've seen demons. I've faced demons. Usually, I've won. Not all the time, though. None of us are perfect. We can't always face down our demons and win every single time. Now, this within the realm of religion, within the realm of politics, within the realm of just people making fun of other people, accepting or rejecting other people. The scapegoating shows up. It seems to me that what often happens is that people are insecure about themselves. They have their own personal demons. Well, we all do. None of us are perfect. We all have issues. We're human beings. And instead of being self-honest, and instead of being responsible, and instead of being courageous, these people will project. And I've done this too. I think it's something we all have done, even if we are people who try not to do such things on a regular basis. But the people who do it on a regular basis, they could be scapegoating Jews, foreigners, Muslims, Christians, atheists, gays, pagans, white people, black people, whatever it is. They are projecting instead of owning up to what is inside themselves and attempting to work past it. They project onto other people. What do they get out of this? When they go and hurt other people, when they go and defeat other people, when they push other people out, push other people down, when they expel the enemy from Middle Earth, they get a sense of being righteous. They get a sense of having fought their demon and being a good person without actually having to fight their demon and actually being a person of character. But the demon is still there because the demon is inside them after all. So the demons, the monsters, Satan, the negative spirits. I can think of another entity, but I will not speak about other people's religion that I have no experience with. But another deity that was believed to be of chaos, who was pushed out, pushed away, outside of civilization. So people who push back against what they fear, which is really in themselves, get the illusion of having conquered their fears. But they still fear what they fear. And the demon will always return. Always. Until you turn around and look behind your eyes and say, motherfucker, hey man, I still have self-esteem issues. Hey man, I still expect to be rejected by other people. Hey, my mom was manipulative and verbally abusive, and though I've come a long way in self-confidence, I still haven't completely ejected her voice from my reality. I still worry that I'm not good enough. I can't tell you obviously what your demons are. And they're not always bad. Aggression. Going around being aggressive in your day-to-day life will not serve you well. It's kind of stupid. Besides, there's quite enough suffering to go around. I mean, it is pervasive. I mean, what are you doing? You're shitting on a turd. But what happens when it's time to defend life and limb? Yeah, be fucking aggressive. Yeah. Tooth and fucking nail. Now, some of this is an issue with me because I have been scapegoated. I have a mother who projects like I have a mother who could basically earn a very good living in a movie theater because she is a walking human projector. Okay? I heard her tell my grandmother that I was a crappy baby. What is a crappy baby? All babies are horrifically inconvenient. They are crying, shitting, urinating, drool, inconvenience machines. That's what a baby is. I don't know how you could have a baby that is not, quote, crappy. And I was blind. I had 2 eye surgeries. I mean, there was no way in the world that I was going to be anything but, quote, crappy. And in school, especially when I had thick glasses, I was made fun of. I saw people who were mean, who weren't very bright, who were liars, who maybe they had their own physical abnormalities. Maybe they were fat or something. Treat me very badly. But obviously, my only crime was being different, just like everyone else. Of course, we have a society like I think all societies will teach people to be afraid of and hide their differences. I think this is how one of the reasons I came out an individualist and collectivism is. Don't even get me started. It it doesn't. It just doesn't even work. Logically, it does not work. But also, it's just a horrible environment to live in. But yeah. So basically what happens is people got to project on me, and it was considered okay, even though it was technically against the rules. It was considered obviously something that was going to happen, and that was just, I don't know, it was just expected. And I can understand that because it's what people in our society have come to expect, therefore they expect it. Oh my fucking god, and water is fucking wet. But, yeah. So, no, I get that people with shitty home lives and who aren't getting good grades, or who are also made fun of themselves, who are probably taught to fear themselves. Thank you, Catholic Church, but also other religions as well. But would project onto me, and woe be unto the kids that were in special education. They got it much worse. Their differences, their deficiencies, their flaws were not such that they could at least attempt to adapt to the quote normal education, which public education sucks. That's a whole different rant, and I don't even think of it as real education. It is indoctrination with trappings of education thrown in. But different rant entirely. Okay. So, my point is that many people in our society, and probably others throughout time immemorial, have been taught to, instead of being self-honest, instead of being introspective, instead of owning up to points on points where we could actually improve, we've been taught to project and make devils and demons and monsters and ghosts and vampires and everything under the sun of other people, instead of knowing ourselves and valuing things that are useful rather than being afraid of them, and working on things that aren't necessarily useful to us, and thinking for ourselves and discerning what people are telling us, discerning the garbage from the gold. And there is precious little gold. I'm sorry, but there's precious little gold. Okay, I'm a cynic, so fucking sue me. I am a cynic. But there is precious little gold coming out of the mouths of other people toward you. Many times people, when they're talking to you, aren't even thinking about you. Many times they are saying things that maybe they would have liked to say to a really horrible boss, or to a parent, or to somebody that they broke up with. Because many times there are things that we don't get to say. Maybe if we said them, we would lose a job. And in an economy like this, many times people just have to stay in a job they don't like while they look for better work. A 5-year-old isn't, well, a 5-year-old doesn't necessarily have the insight to, but if a 5-year-old expresses how they feel to an abusive parent, they might die. So many times we don't get to express what we want to. And so many people project. They didn't get to face the monster of a parent, or of a really screwed up boyfriend or girlfriend, or of some complete jackass who is a bad driver and did something horribly stupid. And many times people will not face what's inside themselves. So they project. And I've projected too. And I haven't always been conscious of this. And I'm sure many people who are projecting on me have not always been conscious of what they were doing. If they were more conscious, they might not even be projecting. And I'm sure some people are very conscious of what they're doing and they don't care. But if that's how you approach your devils, if that's what you do, if you make demons and devils and adversaries of just other people, especially things like, I don't know, your own children, heavens, it will return. When you're done waving your flaming sword and you're done with your little crusade, oh, the devil's gonna return. So the only real option is to face your demons. And do it with your own mind. And do it with your own heart. Don't do it with what other people have told you. If I were trying to face my demons with the Catholic Church, I would be trying to pretend that I don't feel like a man who, for some odd reason, has breasts and a vagina. I would not be open to a relationship with a woman, and I would be miserable because of it. I would not have acknowledged a lot of anger that I've had and harbored over the years. There's a lot about myself I wouldn't have acknowledged and would not have dealt with. If I went with a Democrat filter, I wouldn't acknowledge that I like my stuff and I want my stuff. I like property. I like defending property. If I went with a Republican filter, I wouldn't acknowledge that, hey, goodness gracious, I wouldn't acknowledge that, hey, government has no business in my personal life. As long as I'm not committing force or fraud. I would just basically be the government's bitch. I'd be a flag-waving patriotard Republican, and I would pretend to like wars that I don't. I would pretend to support legislation that I don't, like the Patriot Act. But if I was like an avid Obama supporter and I was looking at things through Obama filters, then I forget what that new national security law is called, that new bill that he passed, but it's the one where people can be locked up without trial if they're if they're suspected of being a terrorist. The one where people's citizenship can be revoked. So, if I'm a proprietarian, free market, anti-statist who has somewhat tribalistic leanings, that's not to say racist leanings. If somebody wants to make a little nation based on race, don't try to take my property to do it. But you know what? You get to do it. Chances are I won't necessarily want your company anyway, so more power to you. I would probably enjoy a community based on basically a libertarian mindset. People who pretty much stay the hell out of my bedroom and stay the hell off my lawn. And people who honor contracts. And people who are open to things like private fire departments and private arbitration firms and things of that nature. But not everyone wants that. I wouldn't go over to, say, Oregon and say, okay, this is what you guys have to do. Which is why I support secession movements. I mean, I'm sure Nevadans and Californians politically would, actually, as far as drug laws, I think Nevada and California might be on the same page, but the federal government has no business sticking their nose into state drug laws. How the hell did I get on this? My point is, though, if I were looking at the world through Republican filters, and I know I have my libertarian filter now too. But it is a bias. But even still, if I'm going to be self-honest, I'm also going to say, but you know what? A lot of the anarchists and anti-statists on YouTube really come off as assholes. I think that. Agree with me or don't, that's fine. Be an asshole or don't be an asshole. I mean, I don't know how much my opinion matters to individual anarchists and anti-statists. It doesn't have to. But my point is, that's what I think. I'm not going to sit here and just be like, yes, demons. This is what I think about demons. But my point is, I'm not going to deny that that's what I think, and then somehow sit and stew, and then come out of the gate and project it on somebody else who I could potentially abuse. I'm not going to say go control or troll. I'm not going to go troll somebody on the internet because I'm angry that some YouTubers come off like assholes. Really? Yeah. I would really, I don't think we can make a world like this, but I would really genuinely love a world where everyone is generally peaceful and, happy, and people are looking out for each other, not in this socialist force of arms, I'm going to steal your money way, but in the sense, like, I describe myself as a free market socialist because I would love to see community charity and stuff. Secular charity. I would love to see secular charity, but even religious charity that's like, we're doing this because we believe that a Sky Daddy mandates it, but we're not going to preach at you. We're just going to say, here's some food, and maybe say here's a pamphlet or here's a food, and by the way, would you like to listen to a sermon and whatever. I'm not, even though it may sound wamby-pamby to a lot of people, it is the way I feel. It is the way I think. This is just some kind of rant. Yeah. How does YouTube let me go on like this now? What were they thinking? What were they thinking when they took away the 10-minute fucking time limit, man? Yeah, it was, yeah. God, I'm a theist. I have to be honest with myself. I am a theist. I am a pantheist. I have made up a word that I'm sure other people have made up. Pantheo. Or Pantheoa. That's easier to say. Pantheoa. Pantheoa. So it kind of captures any gender you could possibly want to ascribe to God and implies that God and the universe are one. Now, what brand of pantheism? I don't know. What do I base this in? Woo! I don't have the 4 days to articulate this, but it's not anything evidentiary outside my own personal experience, and I know I have subscribers that are just throwing things at their monitor right now. Personal experience! Well, my brain may indeed be tricking me. I absolutely acknowledge that. Absolutely. This is why I don't hold fast to pantheism. This is why I am not somehow preaching the whatever. I'm not even going to think about dedicating a channel to it. I mean, why? Okay, otherkin. I am otherkin. I think it's completely psychological right now. Now I am very, very open to the idea of what we are now calling spirits, and we don't have the knowledge and the tools to measure this unseen world yet. However, I also am not going to just assume that it's there and tell people that it is there. Okay? But yeah, I am otherkin, meaning I identify as not entirely human. Physically, I am entirely human. I know this. Mentally, I am not. Why? How? I have no idea. See, this is a video about self-honesty. And because the people who are not self-honest are the ones who will end up with a shit ton of demons. And for a while, my otherkinness, if you will, sort of became a demon, in that it wasn't something I wanted to acknowledge, because it's kind of batshit, you know? Of course, this isn't something that pervades every facet of my life. It's not something that prevents me from interacting with other people. It's not something I use as some kind of excuse. It's not something I hide behind. Sometimes, would that I could. Really, because I sometimes think, wow, it would be really easy if I could hide behind religion and feel okay about it. Like, I could go study at some seminary and have some pompous title and hide behind that and make money producing made-up bilge. And I could even believe myself. With my brain, I could absolutely believe myself. Won't do it. I wouldn't feel happy with myself doing that. I can't lie to myself. I mean, I can lie to myself. I can't intentionally lie to myself, at least not for very long. In fact, denial is a coping mechanism. It's part of grieving for a lot of people. It's not really part of grieving for me, honestly. I mean, I just go straight into sadness when I hear that a loved one has died. I just go straight into sadness. When my dad died, I did do some bargaining and I had some anger, but the denial stage, I never have gone through that. Now, I may, later on, who knows? But Yeah, so denial isn't always a bad thing, but at some point you have to stop denying whatever it is you're denying. Otherwise, hey man, it'll become a personal fucking demon. Those who have a lot of demons are those who will not take responsibility for themselves. Those who have a lot of demons are those who do not have the courage and conscience to face up to things that are in their mind. Those who have demons are repressed people. And I suspect that many of those people have suffered through a lot of abuse in some way, shape, or form. And have internalized the messages and can't let go. The messages of, you're not good enough. You deserve this. You make me do this. Take responsibility for what you make me do to you. Now, abuse tends to run in cycles. So I do think that there's other stuff going on, like just imitating behavior. Like, this is the normal thing to do. This is how you parent. This is how you preach. This is how you govern. This is how you manage. This is how you talk to kids. This is how you teach. Talk to students. It's normal because that's all I know. But also there is the specter of having to face up to what was done to you. In fact, my mother today won't face up to physical abuse that was inflicted on her, and she's 60. She still defends physical abuse that was done to her, not to other kids. Not to spouses, not to children, not to other people. And yes, there are men who get abused by women and men who are raped as well. So, but my point is, for her, she will defend the abuser still. And she still won't talk about it much, as though it's a shame for her. Like she did something to deserve it, like she's admitting to it. 60. And as I said, she is a walking projector. Many, many, many a preacher are walking projectors. But very often religion teaches us to fear ourselves, to fear our sexuality, our anger, our desire for things, our desire to indulge in food and drink and music and dancing and laughter and fun and ridiculously stupid TV shows. In fact, heavens, you make something forbidden fruit, you make it attractive. This is no grand revelation. You make something forbidden fruit, it's all kinds of attractive. Believe me, I had a whole well, let's see. I forget the difference between hypnagogic and hypnopompic hallucinations, but they both occur during sleep paralysis. One is when you're going to sleep, one is when you're waking up. But I had several hallucinations all about this. But again, I don't go around. I don't want to go around talking about a religion I have no real experience with. I'm happy to talk about history. I really am. I'm happy to point out evidence of humans trying things. And, oh, look, there was a process of, perfecting this instead of aliens. But I'm not going to go around talking about other people's religions. Unless I think I know something about it. Like Catholicism, I know a little bit about Catholicism. I know that when Catholics say Hail Marys, they're praying to Mary, as the Blessed Virgin, and not as God, not as a goddess, not as a facet of God. I know Catholics are Trinitarians. I know Catholics pray to saints as saints. Um, I know Catholics pray to angels as angels. Many people will wear or bury or have medals of saints around as protection, or just for various things, like luck or happiness, or there's a patron saint for everything. Goodness gracious, there's a patron saint for finding lost items. I forget which one this is, by the way, but goodness gracious, there's a saint for everything. I swear there's probably a saint of left feet. Oh my. But it's something I'm familiar enough with that I can actually talk about and feel comfortable talking about. Judaism is something, for example, I do not feel comfortable talking about because I don't know very much about it. My exposure to it is extremely limited. I've had a couple of Jewish friends. I once saw a little thing on a door frame outside of a house, and I forget what it's called. So yeah, I'm not gonna go talking about Judaism. So in this case, my hypnopompic hallucinations, which I have heard choirs of angels, and I have, geez, how to explain this? I have spoken with a flow of consciousness, like a river of consciousness called God, that was very loving. But it was not like Old Testament Yahweh. But my point is, these hallucinations were all about forbidden fruit. And I was very, very frank. Hey, I'm attracted to forbidden fruit. I'm attracted to your enemy, dude. And later on, it's like, oh, really? You're attracted to this? Here you go. Here's your opportunity. Go meet it. Go interact with it. And I mean, you could say I chickened out, but I was like, well, I acknowledge that there's a niche for this, but given how chaotic it is, I don't want to invite this into my mind, although it's already in my mind if I'm experiencing it, and I don't want to invite it into my house. Because if I invite it, then I'm dwarfed by it, I'm overwhelmed. Still attracted to it, of course. But I acknowledge it as part of myself. It's in me. If I want to become this thing, I can. It would take meditation and dedication and probably worship. And it might take a whole lot of ceremony and invocation. But it's in me, and it's in you. And the sooner we realize this, the sooner we can improve ourselves where we need improvement, or accept ourselves where we need accepting. This is becoming a sermon. Hail Satan. Every time I think I suspect the label of Satanist does not apply, I do something like this. But the capacity to be Hitler is within all of us. But Hitler was a very effective leader. I don't agree with Nazism. I don't agree with National Socialism. I don't agree with anti-Semitism. I don't agree with genocide. I don't agree with ethnic cleansing. I acknowledge that Hitler was an effective leader. I find it ironic that hippies drive Volkswagens. Google. I love the irony, though. I really do. So basically, what I'm saying is all this ranting, all this raving, all this carrying on. Basically, what I'm saying is know thyself. And stop fucking projecting. It doesn't do anybody any good. Hail Satan.